elections are over, results are in. East Long Meadow has a new selectman. Coming up, we break down the only contested race in the entire election. How was voter turnout? We talked to town officials about how many residents made it to the polls. The answer may surprise you. Big support for a petition to create a charter commission to possibly change town government. And a $400,000 project will soon get underway at Meadowbrook Elementary School. We'll show you what improvements are in store. Those stories just ahead on ELCAT News Week in Review. Good evening, I'm Yasmin Najibi. We begin tonight with results of Tuesday's town elections. Only one race was contested, a spot on the Board of Selectmen. It took only 10 minutes to count the votes Tuesday night after polls closed at 8. In the end, it was William Gorman who took the win over Pete Punderson. ELCAT's Lexi Cohan was at the polls when they closed and has this report.
As expected, yes, voter turnout was not high, but after the votes were counted, Bill Gorman came out as winner.
Total race, Board of Selectmen. William Gorman, 1,005 votes, 1005. Peter Punderson, 471 votes, for a total of 1,476 votes.
Officials say that Gorman won by over 500 votes, a big victory considering the small voter turnout.
Yeah, voter turnout was approximately 14.5%. We had about 1,600 people. I'll get the exact numbers when we verify everything, the tape totals. Last year's annual town election was 18.2%. There was a couple races though.
Throughout the afternoon, a steady stream of voters, but by the evening, turnout slowed down.
It's about, normal for this type of town election. You always want to have more people come out, but that's who showed up today.
Will Gorman was sworn in at Town Hall, and he's now officially a member of the Board of Selectmen. Alexi Cohan reporting for ELCAT News at Birchland Park Middle School. Back to you, Yes.
While voting went on inside, organizers of a petition to create a charter commission gathered a lot of support of their own. Volunteers stood outside Birchland gathering signatures. As Russ Denver explains, the petition would give the go-ahead to simply explore the possibility of different forms of government for East Long Meadow.
I'm here collecting signatures to get a question on the 2015 municipal election, which would establish a charter commission, which then would study different forms of government for East Long Meadow, and then report back to the town, and then have the town vote on any recommendations from the Charter Commission. We are not advocating a certain type of change of government, but just the fact that we should study it and see if there's better ways to do things.
Denver says the day was a success, gathering several hundred of the more than 1,300 signatures needed.
We've had very few people say no to signing the petition. It's probably been 98% yes and 2% no. I think some people are troubled with some of the things that have occurred over the last number of years with, a couple of the select people who, have had to resign from office for a variety of reasons. There were 4 or 5 different elections for selectmen in a very short period of time. There are some people who are upset with some of the services and how they're delivered in town. More than a couple of people have stopped in and said, why was there a big increase in their taxes this year? And don't know whether a change in the charter might have an impact on this or not. We don't know the answer to that. So we've heard a little bit of everything from people, but most people are saying, yes, it's time for the town to study this.
There are several options a charter commission would be allowed to consider under Massachusetts law.
There are different forms. You could go as far as trying to elect a mayor. You could have a weak town manager. And these are all statutory. You could have a strong town manager, which would present the budget and prepare the budget, including the school budget. They would be in charge of all the hiring and the termination of town employees. They would do the collective bargaining for union contracts. They would do the the bidding out for town contracts and who is awarded town contracts. So it takes more of the authority away from an elected board and puts it more into a professional manager's, someone who is not elected. There are pros and cons to that.
Denver says the 1,300 signatures must be collected by December of this year. Then they must be certified in order to be put on the 2015 municipal election ballot. If passed, a 9-member charter commission would then be elected. They would have from 12 to 18 months to present a proposed charter to the town for a ballot vote. In other news tonight, a lot of action at the recent Board of Selectmen meeting. A local business is doing so well, owners went before the board for approval to expand. And the town's IT director wants to stop playing games with Mother Nature and ask for new equipment that will keep power outages from wreaking havoc with the town's main server. That's where we begin. IT Director Ryan Quimby requested a reserve fund transfer of $20,000 to replace what's called the UPS, or Uninterruptible Power Supply. As Quimby explains, basically, the UPS acts as a giant battery for the town's IT department, which powers, for example, the phones for police, fire, and schools.
The server room is powered by electricity, which comes from the street. It goes from the street to a transfer switch. The transfer switch is what the power goes out, the generator kicks on, and that's what switches the power between either the street or the generator. From the transfer switch, it goes to the UPS. It's basically a giant battery, and then from there it goes to the panels that feed everything in the server room. So what's been happening for every power outage, power blip, power surge, brownout, anything, the UPS just shuts off. Shuts off output, the whole server room goes down, public safety goes down, phones go down, everything goes down. So where that causes an even larger problem is a lot of these systems, when they go down uncleanly like that, like our voicemail system or our virtual environment, it creates a lot of problems.
Quimby says they tried to band-aid the problem, but it's a temporary solution. He says the $20,000 replacement will solve any power interruption issues.
We outgrew the system the UPS that we have already, and we had to add a secondary one for one particular rack, basically because of the $20,000 cost. If we can get around it and not have to spend the money for the upgrade, and we can do it, then this unit started failing. It's under maintenance contract, so we had the tech come out. He's been out about 6 times. There was one issue. I had hoped that would resolve it. We've had 2 failures since that, and now it's just they just keep telling me it's old. You got to replace it.
The Board of Selectmen approved the $20,000 transfer from the town's reserve fund. Now it goes to the Appropriations Committee. If the board gives its stamp of approval, the new UPS will be up and running in a matter of weeks. Also at that Board of Selectmen meeting, a local business owner applied for and was approved to expand his business. The beer shop on 33 Harkness Avenue in town hasn't been open that long, but manager Richard Kettle says business is good. So good, in fact, he wants to expand the shop from 1,000 square feet to 2,200 square feet.
The town's received us well. Everything's been going good. There's a lot of local craft breweries. We pretty much pressed forward with everything we planned to do when we came in here initially. We've done tastings. We've invited the town in. A few people had questions about hours. We've cut our hours to suit the center. And we just kind of are growing faster than our space allows. And we just want to provide a certain vibe and atmosphere. And we feel expanding an extra 1,200 square feet will give us that opportunity.
Kettle says the expansion will allow him to hire an additional 2 to 3 employees, plus expand his product line.
A little bit more storage and a little bit more of cold storage. So beer for people to that have cold in the summer months. Right now we only have 5 doors of refrigeration. We have a 3-door and a 2-door cooler. We look to have twice that.
A few town residents turned out to support the expansion, but did express some concerns. Kettle, however, assured them that business would not grow to include such things as lottery sales or expanded hours. In the end, the board approved the beer shop's proposal. The end of the school year is not far away. For the Department of Public Works, that means a few new projects will soon get underway. One of the biggest is a $400,000 electrical upgrade for Meadowbrook Elementary School. DPW Facilities Manager Bruce Fenney says the upgrade is critical in order to keep the school safe and up to speed when it comes to technology.
The issue is a lot of the existing equipment you can no longer buy parts for. They no longer make them anymore, so if any failures should happen on existing circuits, you cannot find breakers for those distribution panels. Also, especially during the summertime with all the air conditioning running. The actually main breakers in the switchgear room actually get warm and actually trip out because of the load that's being placed upon them. So we will obviously rectify the situation this summer with all new equipment.
This week, Fenny and a team of engineers will do a walkthrough of Meadowbrook in preparation of beginning the project as soon as school lets out.
We are doing a service upgrade to that facility. National Grid is going to be putting in a new pad-mounted transformer, new primaries. The contractor will be installing all the secondaries, new switchgear, and new distribution panels throughout the facility.
Fenny says once the new system is installed, such things as air conditioning and computer upgrades will be possible.
Absolutely. With the new system, you'll probably be able to at least add upon the existing equipment at least another 30%. So new computer labs or air conditioning units, centralized air conditioning units versus window units will be able to be added to that building.
After the walkthrough this week, the project then goes out to bid on April 17th. Now that the weather is warming up a bit, there's at least one group in town that's already thinking about summer, namely the 4th of July Parade Committee. 8 committee members are retiring. That leaves a large hole for volunteers that is starting to get filled in. The annual East Longmeadow 4th of July Parade is a town tradition enjoyed by thousands of people each year. While the parade has grown tremendously since its roots, the people behind the scenes have largely stayed the same, getting the parade off without a hitch. But with so many retiring, new volunteers are stepping in, like Ryan Quimby, who not only wears the hat of the town's IT director, as you saw a few moments ago, but is now co-chair of the parade. It is a volunteer position, and as a longtime East Longmeadow resident, he is happy to do his part.
I really think that the parade is the soul of the town. You know, I remember going there ever since I was, a kid. I grew up in town, so my dad told me when he used to go to the parade when he was younger. So it's definitely something that we can't let fail.
Quimby says slowly but surely volunteers have stepped forward, but more are needed.
The majority of the parade, as far as last year, has been a lot of people that have been on for 30 plus years, and they're looking to pass the torch. There's been people have had personal things go on in their personal lives, and they had to kind of take a step back, or at least plan on taking a step back. So they're really looking to bring in some younger people and pass the torch and make sure that it keeps going.
The parade committee's longtime chair, Carl Olin, is staying on for at least this year and next to help Quimby and the new committee with the transition. As for the parade itself, Quimby anticipates this year to be bigger than ever. And as it has for the last few years, the parade route will begin from the high school and not Birchland Park Middle School.
The parade's grown so much where the current reverse route is really the route we need, especially with the diminished volunteers, is the route we need to keep. It's a lot easier for us to set it up, to line people up in the high school parking lot. The larger people come down around from the back of the high school. It's definitely the way we're going to stay that way.
Anyone interested in volunteering, either on the parade committee or as a marshal for Parade Day, can now reach the committee from a link on the town website at www.eastlongmeadowma.gov. In Spartan Sports, the spring season is finally here and games are underway. Here's our Spartan Sports wrap-up with Nick Balboni.
Thanks, Yaz. It's been a busy week in Spartan Sports, so let's take a look back. Girls lacrosse is getting off to a great start. So far, the league Spartans are 3-0. They kicked off their season with a win over West Springfield 10-3. On to April 5th. In Game 2 of the season, they took on Mount Anthony Union at home. 4 different players stepped up as Mary Bates, Lindsay Phillips, and Becca Moses all scored 2 goals, while Juliana Fazio posted a hat-trick. Nina Fazio made 10 saves in the goal for the Spartans. The final of that game was 14-8. Next up was Westfield. A close game at times, but another win for the Spartans. They took that one 17-13. Now on to softball. The Lady Spartans are off to a 500 start on the season, going 1-1 in their first 2 games. First up was Chicopee Comp. Danny White and Alyssa Pioji both collected 2 hits, while Julia Decker pitched the complete game, getting her first W of the season, 11-5. Next up was Hampshire Regional. Another high-scoring game, but this time not in the Spartans' favor. Despite 2 hits apiece from White and Pioji, the Spartans couldn't get on the board and dropped their second game, 11-0. Finally, boys and girls track hosted their first home meet on Monday. The girls lost to Ludlow by just 3 points, 74-71. Gabby Whitehofer took the 200-meter dash, long jump, and triple jump events. Lauren Champney crossed the finish line first in the 110-meter hurdles, and Morgan Voigt took the 400-meter hurdles. Boys track did not do as well, but a solid showing in several events including long jump, triple jump, and the 100 and 200 meter, but in the end they lost to Westfield 82-40. That will do it for this week. I'm Nick Balboni for ELCAT Sports.
Thanks for joining us on ELCAT News Week in Review. I'm Yasmin Najibi. Good night.